everyone, and welcome to the Casual Hour, a podcast ostensibly about video games, but mostly about getting bought by Microsoft. I'm your host, Chase Kaneki, because this is a deep dive episode, kind of, maybe, not really, I don't know. But I'm hosting, and that's what matters. Along with me, as always, the gamer who's not on the go, but is the host of this podcast most of the time, Bobby Pease. Hi, Bobby.
Hey, how are you?
And that other guy. So we're here to talk about Johnny Emsich. Hi, Johnny. How are you doing?
What?
All right.
He's tired, guys. He's so tired. He's exhausted.
So tired.
But yeah, we're here to talk.
Yes.
Well, fair. Yes, probably. We're here to talk about a few things. I do have a fun little thing we can do, not exactly a deep dive, but a fun thing we can do. But before that, there was some bit of news, as you might have heard, and I referenced it there at the top of the show. Guys, the video game industry just got a little smaller and also a lot bigger.
They couldn't have made it 69 billion.
They had no choice.
Nice. But they did not do that. Yes, Microsoft. We're starting it off with a little casual report here. Microsoft has purchased Activision Blizzard for a whopping $68.7 billion, making it the biggest video game acquisition in history.
I mean, it has to be one of just the biggest acquisitions.
It is.
In history.
Yeah. I mean, I've had this tweet that I liked from Matthew Ford that says to put in perspective how big of a deal Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard is. Here's the top 5 biggest video game acquisitions in history. Number 5 was King. That was done for $5.9 billion. Number 4 is Bethesda, which we all know Microsoft got as well, $7.5 billion. Supercell sold for $10.2 billion. Zynga, $12.7 billion. And this one, $68.7 billion. So a bit of a jump.
That's big.
Big. Like $2 billion between friends.
Move over there. And we felt this was like a big enough story that we really needed to talk about it on the show.
I think this is the biggest story that's happened in gaming in my lifetime.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't think there's been anything bigger than this.
Certainly from a money standpoint.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, when you look at the people were losing their mind over Bethesda, and rightfully so. Like, I understand that you're not a huge fan of Bethesda, but there's a lot of people who are very passionate about those titles.
Ooh.
And so, like, I think Microsoft bringing that over to it, and chat's asking if this is a good thing, and I think that's yet to be determined.
I think that gets to the heart of the issue, though. I think that's something we should talk about, is what Colin's referencing here. Is this a good thing?
I think, given the state, I don't think this happens if Activision is not in the situation they're in now. I do not think that happens.
I think there's a few angles that we will probably cover this tonight, and I don't want to speak for the two of you, but I'm going to speak for the two of you when I say this. Like, we've danced around the Activision Blizzard stuff a little bit over the last several weeks here on the show. I think we've made it pretty clear that we think what's happening out there is absolutely bullshit, and the environment needs to change. So we're not experts. Yeah. We literally get our news from the same place as a lot of you do, and we try to give you our opinions on said news with our take. And so tonight we'll probably be talking more about some of that stuff than we have in the past. And I don't want to speak for Chase, and I don't want to speak for Johnny when I say we're not experts here when it comes to some of the inner workings and the legalities that are being encroached out there in California with them. However, as fans of video games and as people who care about the industry and the games that we get to take in from that industry, we'll be commenting as individuals and as the show tonight on some of that stuff. And I think that we're going to be talking about what's happening with Activision Blizzard first and foremost, probably, and what we think might come of it from this acquisition. We'll be talking about Microsoft specifically and their war chest of money and now video games and Game Pass. And I'm sure that we're going to be talking a little bit about where we think some of those games might end up and where they won't end up potentially when the dust settles next year at the end of this. So I'm gonna back off a little bit and let Chase and Johnny kind of steer the ship, and I'll be chiming in. But I did want to step in as host and just say that we have.
I'm host.
Well, yes, adjacent host, adjacent host.
Thank you.
We're not experts on some of the stuff that's been talked about. we might be talking about specifics of it that we've been able to see through other media sources. So there could be some subject stuff tonight that might be a bit sensitive. I don't know how much we'll get into it, but I just want to put that out there for everybody on what's going on.
Well, I want to say I read exactly one Bloomberg article, so I think I'm a pretty big expert on the subject.
Great, we're ready.
But that Bloomberg article is, I think, really interesting. It has some good reporting in there. And Johnny's right that the only reason this deal happens in the first place is because of the things that are going on in Activision, the controversy that's going on there, the sexual allegations that are happening both with Bobby Kotick and under his watch, and how that has tanked their stock price. I think it was up at $100 around at one point last February, and then when the stuff came to light, it's half of that at this point now. So Microsoft, even though they're buying Activision at a premium of what the stock price is, they're still getting a pretty good deal because of how the stock price has fallen since it was at its peak.
Yeah, man. Did you see? I think Kotaku is who posted this, but I guess apparently Bobby Kotick was saying like maybe we should buy a PC Gamer or a Kotaku to get a more positive spin on this thing, and that just goes to show you what a slimy piece of shit Bobby Kotick is.
Well, and what they're saying right now is, and again, whatever inner workings are happening between these two gargantuan companies, they can't talk about because the deal's not done first and foremost, and there's as a long legal road ahead of it. June of next year is a targeted finalization. So June 2023 is what they're looking at for the dust to settle. And there's been two reports that have come out. IGN ran one that came from a Microsoft representative where, of course, like they're going to say this, they have to, that Bobby Kotick is still CEO of Blizzard Activision. Now, there's also been other reporting that's come out that as the dust settles on this, there's going to be some sweeping up and cleaning house that happens, as Phil had shared out an internal email. Well, he didn't share it out, but it had came out an internal email to the team that they're all reporting to him. He is now have a promotion over Microsoft Games. It looks like he is now the top of the...
Yeah, CEO of Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah, so that is who everybody's going to be reporting to when this deal is done. So I don't know if that's something where, like, we all have to speculate here that Bobby is going to be swiftly booted.
Yeah, as most Bobbies in positions of power should be. Like, we should get rid of all of them.
The Wall Street Journal reported that once this deal's done, he's gone, and I think that is a net positive. But like
it is, but for him to get kicked out with an extremely golden parachute.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
say. Is really disappointing to see that. Microsoft could have easily stipulated that part of this deal was that that Kotick was kicked out before the deal went through. Now, who knows if it gets taken at that point, but.
Right.
I think the thing that really is odd to me and feels weird is that we had Phil Spencer, a handful of weeks ago saying, "Oh, hey, we're really looking at this Activision Blizzard stuff. It's going to change the way."
He said they're reevaluating.
They reevaluated all right.
Yeah,
they reevaluated the price.
I mean, this deal has been going on for
months,
however long. Yeah, so
months, if not a year. Yeah, Kotick is saying that Phil Spencer had contacted them a year ago about potentially doing this. But it's
just another example of rich assholes getting away.
It's true. Fuck him.
But it also makes me question Phil Spencer a little bit at this point. That he. I know you have to say stuff for the public and you keep stuff in private, especially when deals are going down like this. But for him to talk out of both sides of his mouth in this situation, to say, hey, we're reevaluating our relationship with this company, and also, hey, by the way, we're buying this
I think that's talking on both sides of your mouth. I think that he believes in talent, and Microsoft, if anybody, has proven over the last several years that a public about face is not an easy thing to do, but they've done it with some grace, it looks like. And I think that what he is saying, at least how I read into it, is we're reevaluating that relationship. We're going to buy them. We're going to refuge these people that have done good work for these companies that have got caught up in the bullshit of these higher executives. And look, Microsoft's not without blame or shame, or I'm sure that they've had their own HR complaints. But I do believe that Phil and his team are going to be somewhat of a safe harbor. At least that's what I'm hoping for a lot of these people on that team, where they can come in and do the work that they want to do, create the shit that they set out to do without all this hanging over them. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I can't say for certain, man. Like, I get where you would say, like, both sides of your mouth, but I think that is an aspect that maybe they were looking at an acquisition then and reevaluating it based off of what was happening. Like, this probably expedited a few things for Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. But ultimately, if the end goal, which what I'm reading on my Twitter thread is to fire Bobby Kotick, this seems like the more probable way of doing it, because the board currently would not do that.
And it maybe also explains why the board stood by their man.
Sure, kept him on if they knew they were getting paid out of the deal.
Right. It's a holiday for them.
The board is full of his friends,
right?
But also, when someone this toxic is at the helm of a company, normally, you'd kick them out, give them their golden parachute. And,
they get a golden pair of shorts over there.
Yeah,
but back to the Phil thing. Like, Bobby, I hope you're right. I hope that is how things are going down, and that's what he meant when he said it. But we know that's not what people were talking about when we were all talking about reevaluating our relationship.
Yeah, every most major people were saying that. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And they were saying that in ways of, hey, we are distancing ourselves from Activision Blizzard in different ways, whether whether that's going to be financial or what. And so for Phil to say a similar statement and come out, I think he was one of the earliest ones too, to come out with a pretty strong statement like that. But then we know that what he meant behind the scenes, or what was going on, is that he's not distancing himself; he's getting even closer and acquiring, and that's obviously not what people were thinking when you said that statement. So it feels that's how I feel a little bit. I wouldn't say betrayed. I don't really have a dog in the fight.
I mean, Jim Ryan made a similarly bland statement. It's like these huge behemoths that rely so much on the other to keep, themselves in the black, aren't going to come out and take a huge swipe at someone like that unless they're sure they know which way the wind is blowing. I don't know.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I was just like, I would expect Phil Spencer to make a statement similar to that, regardless of whether or not they were in the midst of trying to acquire Activision Blizzard. That's just corporate speak. You say things without really saying much of anything at all, or aligning yourself one way or the other. I mean, look at all the social causes that all these companies have decided to hop on the bandwagon for, because this is the way things are going. This is the way the majority of the country feels. So yeah, Black Lives Matter, that's Pride, etc., etc.
But I think Phil has also prided himself and built that persona for him that he is, one of us in a way. He's a gamer. Sure. He shows us all the games that he played. Like Jim Ryan, I don't think that guy picks up a fucking controller, and if he does, he doesn't really give a shit about it. Like he's out there talking about how PlayStation owners don't care about backwards compatibility and don't like old games. Like that's like he is meant to be out of touch almost, and Phil Spencer is supposed to be the opposite of that. He's coming out wearing his cool video game shirts and going like, I'm here for the gamers. I want us to be the best place to play.
Toads.
So I think he has a different set of expectations on him when he builds a persona like that.
I mean, he's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't in this situation too. Like ultimately, it could be a really good thing for all parties involved, but you got to get pretty damn close to the problem to understand like how many heads does this Hydra have, and I mean, like, look, a year ago we were all trying to figure out if Elder Scrolls would be exclusive, right? Like that was what we were trying to understand from that acquisition. And now we're trying to talk about something a lot more complicated and still talk about some exclusives, which we will. But now it's do they fire a fucking problem?
It's amazing how quickly that conversation happens too. Like that is already, people are already asking, oh shit, is Call of Duty exclusive? There is another quote from Phil in that Bloomberg article that says, I'll just say to the players out there who are playing Activision Blizzard games on Sony's platform, it is not our intent to pull communities away from that platform, and we remain committed to that. Which, I don't know what to believe anymore, because again, I still feel like he was talking a little bit out of both sides of his mouth the last time. So, on one hand, I guess it makes sense to have Call of Duty on all the platforms, because it's the one that's going to sell everywhere. You don't want to just cut your profits for that. Like you don't mind making the money that you're going to make off of Sony. I don't know. I think maybe that's the more interesting conversation for us to have right now. We're not business guys. We don't know what's going on here with all this too much. But
okay, you want to know my hot take? What's going to happen?
Sure. Well, Well, do you want to, before you give the hot take? Let's just run down maybe like a handful of what's the IP we're talking about here? Like what games are on the table right now?
Overwatch.
Yep.
WoW. Diablo. That's just Blizzard. Call of Duty. Tony Hawk.
Our Hero.
NBA Jam.
I keep thinking of things over the last 2 days. Like, oh fuck, yeah, Crash Bandicoot. Spyro. Like it's so broad and scope.
I think the biggest one that we could literally just talk about Call of Duty tonight. That's all we would have to talk about, and it would be enough for this. But there's a lot more to it. But Call of Duty, even the bad ones that came out the last 2 years, I believe 2021 at the end of the year, number 1 and 4 place. So number 1 and 3, right, was the 2 Call of Duty games, right?
Mm-hmm. Vanguard and Black Ops Cold War.
That's a pretty big. Let's start there. I think that's the one we got to talk about. If that's cool with you too,
okay.
I'd love to. Yeah. Just so Johnny, give me a hot take on Call of Duty.
Okay, I think Warzone stays multi-platform, and I think Call of Duty is any platform that lets Game Pass onto it still gets Call of Duty. I think that this is them squaring up and looking at Sony. Because they've been pretty open about the fact that, like, hey, we would love to put Game Pass on other platforms. And Sony has made comments like, no, that's not going to happen. But I don't know. Like, they could. I'm sure that there are whizzes at Microsoft running the numbers right now to see, if we make this gamble, could it pay off, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that they make all single player, like regular Call of Duty entries, are Xbox and Game Pass only. And that is the ticket to get Game Pass onto other platforms, so that Sony still gets to wet their beak a little bit from, they get their 30% or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know what the numbers look like for a company like Amazon with Luna. And because they had that partnership with Ubisoft when that first launched, where it's like, hey, this is a channel that you can subscribe to. And if you were a current subscriber, it was just already activated for you if you were on that service. But, I think I agree with you, Johnny. And ultimately, like, I think the wording was when they were talking about the Elder Scrolls is that Elder Scrolls will be available to play wherever Game Pass is. Yes. And, so a few things come to my mind is that, like, we might be looking at like Sony as like the only vessel here, where I don't think Game Pass was in this conversation, but at CES this year, all the new Samsung TVs that are coming are going to be equipped with Stadia and GeForce Now. Like, it's an app already pre-installed when you turn the TV on.
It's what's Stadia?
Stadia is something that used to happen with games where you could play them everywhere. I don't really know what happened there, Chase. But if Game Pass could get in on the TV front, you don't need it to be on that box. Like, it's already there. Or if Microsoft says, hey, here's a $40 Fire Stick equivalent Xbox HDMI stick that you just pop in your TV and have that, then like that solves that problem too. But I do believe that if they would come to the table in a way that like Steam or these other storefronts do, and they're like, hey, you're going to get a split. Like we're going to get majority of it, whether it's a 30/70 or if it's even like a 40/60, whatever that would be, like the subscription, if they pay through it, like the PSN store, like you have to use that storefront to buy your pass through Game Pass. Microsoft's going to get a little bit on the back end, but so Sony, so it's mutually beneficial. Having said that, there's a stubbornness there, man. Like I have no idea. I really don't. Like I know that you can stream. Like what's interesting is that on the Xbox right now, you can fire up the browser and you can do GeForce now. You can play that on your Xbox and have all those games. And who's to say that Sony just doesn't fucking move around and say like, hey, we built a browser. Fuck getting money there. Like if you want it and have it, play it that way. But I don't know. Like I think that it would make no sense, absolutely no sense, to spend $69 billion on something that you couldn't benefit from, which is not to sell more consoles, but to further integrate Game Pass into the household. That's the whole target here. Like that would be like Netflix buying up a studio just to put shit on Amazon Prime.
So I think that leads more to a question that I have. I know we talk about how Game Pass is the best deal in video gaming, and I think that's objectively true right now. And it's only getting truer.
You broke up a little bit. Can you repeat what you said there? I want to make sure I didn't miss that.
I said that people have been saying that Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, and I think that's objectively true.
Yeah,
I can agree with that while not being a Game Pass member. But I also think that you have when we have deals like this, when we have consolidation like this, when we have one service becoming the be all end all, that is bad for competition. That is bad potentially for video games. I think about what happens with something like Apple Arcade. We saw Apple Arcade come out. We saw people change the way they make video games because they wanted it to do better on Apple Arcade. Games on Apple Arcade became more about how long can you spend on this game, because that's the way that Apple gave the revenue share. So they were building different kinds of games, and I worry that Game Pass could lead to a similar type of situation where we get different kinds of games. The games change, that we lose some of the games that we like right now because, hey, we have metrics now that Microsoft gives us about how Game Pass works, and we need to optimize our games to work on Game Pass, which might not be optimal to players, which might not be the best thing for players. If for example, if a company knows that their base game is going to be sold through Game Pass, they already are saying, okay, well, there are no sales of this game, really. We're not getting that money. We're getting the money that Microsoft gives us for being on Game Pass, but we're not getting the money from selling the games. Does that mean we give players less game to know that we're also going to make some DLC on the back end that they might need to pay for? Or are we going to do more cosmetic stuff that we know players are going to pay for, because that's how we can get a little extra money out of things? Instead of making a game and selling it at a premium price point, we're going to make a cheaper game and put more cosmetics and things in it, because that's how we can get more money out of the deal. That, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that's how Game Pass is set up to work, but it's a scenario I could see happening that could end up being bad for players in the end, and that's the thing I worry about.
It's you say that, Chase, and then I remembered. Let's see, I'm finding stuff from 2019, like in 2020, and Game Pass can amplify sales for some studios, and then if the game is bad, then it doesn't do as well. But also there's a thing, if one person has all the marbles, all of a sudden, I don't know.
Those marbles go way up. Yeah.
That's why I have such mixed feelings about this, because on the one hand, huge acquisitions happen all the time.
And right now, it's a fantastic deal. If you have Game Pass right now, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm never buying a Call of Duty ever again because I just get it with Game Pass."
Yep,
that's a good deal to me. That's all I need. But I think there could be implications further down the road that make that less of a good deal.
You think about the people who all they do is buy Game Pass and they say, or Call of Duty every year, and they say, okay, well, for the same amount of money, almost, or a little bit more, I could get this, and then all of a sudden they have all these other games available to them that they could potentially sink time and money into.
It's wild to think about too, like from a rotation standpoint, like not to go back to the Netflix well here, but things come and go on Netflix all the time, except those in-house properties. Like you can always find those shows there. And I think that Game Pass, like there's a steady flow and rotation happening there where like games come and go off of it. But if you are like, what's wild to think about, because it used to just be like, oh, well, the Microsoft titles are going to be there, which is great, and we'll have those. But those Microsoft titles that pool is getting so damn big. Like a few years back when they did the Xbox One X, when that box came around, I moved back over to the platform after being an Xbox and a 360 user. I did not like what the Xbox One initially launched as, and I moved over to PlayStation as like my primary console. When the Series X, the One X came out, I jumped back over and I told myself like, hey, you're going to treat your Switch and your PlayStation as like exclusive content only. And there's been a lot of discussion for years now that Sony's been mopping up with their exclusives, specifically with Microsoft. And still, like, I think that the stories that they're telling over there are some of the best in the industry, if not the best. And when I look at like how I've treated my Xbox, it's been the catch-all for anything that wasn't an exclusive to PlayStation. And that's just where I felt like the hardware was better for like 4K gaming. I really appreciated that. I liked the Xbox Live service. I liked Game Pass in its infancy, and I love it even more so now. And so when I look at what's happening with this, it's wild to think that all the games that I was spending money on, which not every single one of them, but a lot of them, are now becoming part of the studio, that it's just there. Like, I've never played World of Warcraft. I'm sure I would find something to enjoy on that game. But if they were able to say like, hey, that's $15 a month to play WoW. Well, if you have Game Pass, you just play WoW. Like, it's there. It's there for you to play. It's already baked in. Like, you have that in your subscription. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, you could still go that path. Like, you don't have to subscribe to Game Pass. Like, that's an option. WoW is $15. Game Pass is $15 plus you get all of this. Like, what other person wouldn't be like, well, that? And I think that's what Microsoft's trying to do here, is just saying, like, we're the easy answer. Like, this is the path forward. This is the smartest move for your dollar. We are going to be the absolute best place to have a library of games. You can play them on your mobile phone. You can play them in a browser. You can play them on a PC. You can play them on an Xbox.
Yeah.
We want
that to be the case. Carries over.
Right. They simplified it for everybody. And I think that that's the thing that they have to focus on here.
And I'm with you. And like we've talked about it before. Once I get this Steam Deck, I'm going to end up getting Game Pass, because it is too good of a deal to pass up when you have a system that actually works with it. And I don't have a PC, and I don't play on my current Xbox much at all. Right. And I didn't get a Series X or S. So once I actually get a Steam Deck, absolutely it makes sense from an individual standpoint. But again, my fear is that what happens, 5-10 years down the line is everything Game Pass at some point, and then Game Pass now has the ability to tell me what games I can and can't play, and that's not something. I mean, I'm excited for.
Do either one of you think that is there any acquisition that can happen at this point in time that would be a bigger surprise than this?
EA.
I mean, they've been betting each other so much.
They're not bigger though, right?
No.
Like, they're not bigger than.
Dude, they make FIFA. Like,
yeah, but from money standpoint, they are not bigger than Activision.
Probably not. No.
I mean,
just because Activision has WoW. Like, they have more.
I mean,
revenue streams, but
the answer is Nintendo. It's who could offer Nintendo enough money to say we got them. We got the people who make games.
I do think that Johnny brought up a good point with EA. Like, that's the one thing that I feel Game Pass would benefit from greatly is some sort of like sports franchise. And like you got EA Play on there, but like if they had like day and date when Madden launched, it's on Game Pass. Like that's kind of gangbusters, right? Like if they had Call of Duty and Madden, think about that. We joke about this shit all the time as a show, and we're not trying to make light of people's interests because everybody plays different types of games. But we've talked that there's those people who buy 2 games a year, whether it be Call of Duty or Madden or both. And if that was on Game Pass and that was built into your TV and you had the internet to do it, like why the fuck wouldn't you just do that?
Sure. Yeah. Colin also mentions in the chat here another surprising acquisition would be Valve and all of Steam, and yes, for sure. But I also think because of Valve owning Steam and liking their position where they are with all the money they make, they don't need to take a deal like that. I think they're
also a privately held company.
Yeah, I think they're safe. I think an Epic is safe. Like those guys are the ones who would do the acquiring and have done the acquiring, not necessarily being acquired. Yeah, and I guess the same goes for Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't really acquire much. They purchase some studios to become part of their teams, but Nintendo is one I could see. Hey, Nintendo has a really bad year one year. Like they have another Wii U situation that puts them in a tougher spot. Yes, they've got a huge war chest, but maybe they're in just a tough enough spot that somebody can come in and say, "Hey, we're gonna give you a life raft and bring them in."
Yeah, I agree. Like I think surprising 100%. I don't know, man. Like there's a long time ahead of us, and we'll see what happens here. It's exciting. It's something. It's wild news.
And I think one thing that I don't know if it makes me feel better, but hearing like the guys from Obsidian, hearing Tim Sweeney or not Tim Tim Schafer, like it seems as though Microsoft, even though they own these studios, they still retain their autonomy. They're like Psychonauts 2 was given more time, more money. It didn't help Chase like it, but they still like I don't know. Like I feel like if anyone can, if there's one net positive is maybe like some life gets breathed back into these places. They're no longer, have this blade looming over their head of like, hey, you need to be $1 billion a year franchise for you to matter to us. I could see a lot of the dormant or less utilized franchises being revived. Maybe we'll get that Tony Hawk 3+4 remake that'd
be cool.
I'm jonesing for since 1 and 2 was so good.
I don't think they would do 3 and 4 together because 4 is such a different kind of game than 3. I think they would just say, "Hey, here's 3+ or whatever," and then do 4 another time. I do want to reference one more thing that the chat is saying, and that's owning physical games versus having subscription services, and that is, hey, I am 100% with you. That's why I am very cautious about things like Netflix. Yes, I have a Netflix account, but I also am purchasing a lot of media or acquiring media in some ways. And having those on hard drives. I prefer to have stuff on hard drives. I like having a physical collection of video games. Whenever we do our monthly previews, and Bobby talks about the games that are coming to Game Pass, one of the things we never mention are the games that are leaving Game Pass, because that happens a lot too. And it happens with Netflix. When you have these big kind of subscription deals, you are renting that content. Like, not just us are renting that content from a subscription service. The subscription services are also renting that content as well. And sometimes it goes away. And that's that's the thing that's scariest to me of when I'm saying we'd have somebody dictating what games we can and can't play. if Microsoft is the one who gets to tell me, that game's just not popular enough, so we're just going to take it off Game Pass, and now, now you can't play it at all.
Well, you can buy
Bobby
it.
And I are going through.
You can buy it, and always with a discount.
For now, but who knows? 10 years down the line, maybe Game Pass is the only way
at the same
we
time,
acquire games.
Like I know where you're going with this with the Portal thing, and it doesn't make any sense.
I absolutely was.
That's not Microsoft's fault here. That's not Sony's fault. If anybody, that's Valve's fault.
It's Apple's fault.
No, it's Valve's.
What are you talking about? I own a game. It plays on my MacBook. Apple changes the way their software works on my same computer, and now I cannot play the game that I was able to play yesterday.
Because
that sounds like an Apple problem.
They've moved to 64-bit, as is Windows. There's options there for that as well. Valve has not updated that game. They have not put that game on any other modern storefronts besides their own, which is wild considering how popular that game is today. So look, there's multiple people at fault. I'm not going to pin it on one person, but I think, I agree. I see the idea of I like to own what I own. And I responded to in chat, and I'll share it here. A couple years back, I made the decision to just abandon all physical media. It became a situation of like, I want to be able to grab any piece of technology and sign in a few spots and have my shit. And that was one of the best decisions I've made for myself, is to move my digital life across the cloud. And that has allowed me to easily gain access to files, documents, movies, TV shows, games now, and other forms of media that in the past it would be like, I'm putting a lot of faith on a hard drive. I'm putting a lot of faith on technology to be harmonious with where things are moving. Can my PlayStation from years ago be updated enough to work in a way like, you have a PS3, Chase, but like, what good is that serving you here when you can't even log on to the store to buy the game? So like, it's on one hand, like if you don't physically own it, which is what you're talking about, you can't buy it anywhere. And like, that's a problem. I think game preservation is a bigger conversation. Like digitizing film has been something that we've done for a while. I think music has been another thing that has been incredibly digitized. But for whatever reason, there's a lot more stipulations around licensings with games. For some reason, like I can find, not only can I find a movie, I think this is a great example. All that footage from the Beatles that they've recently remastered and put out like decades later in the best format, you can stream and have everywhere. And I think that that's a really wild concept where like all I'm trying to do is play a game that wasn't that long ago by all standards with my buddy in a way that seems pretty normal. And for whatever reason, the bits or the storefronts got in the way of that. And that really shouldn't be the case here. And I'm sure that you and I could have found a workaround besides the fucking gymnastics we had to go through to make this work. But
I could buy a physical PS3 copy of that game,
right?
Put it in there, and then PS3, for some reason at that point in video game history, Valve liked Sony more than they liked Microsoft. Yeah. So
remember,
PS3
you could sign into your PlayStation account.
I can sign into it for whatever reason. I'm just having trouble purchasing.
Yeah, there's a weird thing. You could put Linux on that thing.
Anyway, I think we've all made some good points here. We're gonna have to wait and see for sure how this deal shakes out, and then how it actually changes video games.
Yeah, good year and a half before this is finalized.
It seems like Sony is taking a pretty big hit right now. With just the potential threat of losing out on Call of Duty and Microsoft making that exclusive, or at least having the power to make that exclusive. Sony stock is taking a big hit, and we'll see if Sony does something to respond, if they want to acquire stuff. I like having lots of companies out there. I like being able to talk about lots of developers, having people have their independence so they can build their small, weird, interesting stuff. And I think you start to get away from small, weird, interesting stuff when you are purchased by a much larger corporation like a Microsoft. And yeah, we still got weird, neat things like Psychonauts 2, but Psychonauts 2 was something that started from crowdfunding. I know I was a crowdfunder for it. And
you should play that game now.
And I should play more of it. I didn't like it. I wasn't having a good time with it, but I liked a lot of aspects of it.
Did you not like it because other people liked it this time around?
No, I'm glad people like it. I wish I was one of those people.
That's fair.
I felt it just felt old, and if I wanted to play something that old, I would really just go back to the original Psychonauts. It felt weird. Anyway, we have talked quite a bit about this acquisition, and that's nice. But I think it's time for us to have a little bit more fun. And so, guys, it's not a deep dive exactly, but I have created a little game for us to play. So, Bobby, why don't you switch over?
Oh, I'm already there.
Thank you very much. And we're going to play some Jeopardy. I am your host of Casual Hour Jeopardy, Chase Kennecke. Alex Trebek couldn't be here with us on account of him being dead. But I am here.
R.I.P.
And that's honestly more important at this point. So, we have Casual Hour Jeopardy. 2 teams, Bobby on one side, Johnny on the other. And we're going to play this basically like Jeopardy. Yeah?
So answer in the form of a question?
You don't have to answer in the form of a question. I have written all these questions and answers, and I've written them in question format, but you don't have to do that.
So I don't have to do that. Is what you're saying?
No, if you want to, but I think it would actually be detrimental to you, because here's how we're going to play the game. If you are listening to this as a podcast, I would instruct you, I would ask you to maybe pause it here and go check out the VOD, the video on demand, because I think this is going to show up a little better if you were watching watching us do this instead of listening to us do this. So. Bobby and Johnny, so we aren't just yelling over each other with the answers. I'm going to ask that you write your answers in chat so I am able to see who comes in first. And if you're watching this on the stream, you'll also be able to see it in chat of who rings in first with the correct answer. I'm going to say you can guess as many answers as you want, and whoever just gets the first correct answer is the one who wins those points and gets control of the board to take us to the next question. I'm going to say, as like the host arbiter here, that if neither of you are getting the answer, I'm going to say, like, there's no specific time limit on these answers, but if things are getting slow, I'll just move it along and say, okay, nobody got that answer, and get us there.
Okay.
You guys happy with this? Chat. Thank you for that question. I'm gonna ask you not if possible. I would like to test the video game knowledge between Bobby and Johnny. Chat, I know you're gonna know all the answers, and I love you for it. But I want to see how these guys do with these questions that I've built for them.
Great.
So we're gonna go in, and the first thing we're going to do is see the category names, and I'll go through these category names. Category 1, sub to my channel. This is, you're going to have to guess what the subtitle is to the video game mentioned in the clue. The next section is Pokemon. And then, hey, that's my game, where I'll give you a game name and you tell me who the protagonist of that title is. War games, note war in the title. Each correct answer will have, or each correct question, or however, each correct response will have war somewhere in the title. And then everybody's favorite potpourri. So, Bobby, as a former host of the Casual Hour, I'm going to give you first dibs and ask you, where do you want to go on the board?
You can pick anywhere. Sub to my channel.
Start anywhere. For how much?
200.
200. All right, the clue is, it's the subtitle of Zelda 2. Nintendo probably figured people would stop calling the protagonist Zelda if they put his name on the box. Johnny got it first. The answer is
Johnny did get it first. Look at the order of the chat.
Link. What? Yeah.
What's it say? What's it say before Johnny?
No. I want the answers, not pick me. You put the answer in the chat.
Well, if we do it this way, if we say, "Hey, I've got the answer," I can audibly tell you the answer, and do it that way.
Also,
I don't like
my
that
thing
because
came
that
first in chat.
No, it didn't.
It doesn't really matter.
It absolutely did not. Look at the chat history.
Yeah, the chat history has Bobby saying pick me first.
Yeah, Johnny.
My chat history shows mine above you. So
your chat history is wrong in this one. Jedi, I want to say Potent Potable should have been on here. I couldn't think of enough video game drinks to put in here. Okay, so Bobby, I'm looking for the actual answer in here. I think if you put pick me or some kind of way for me to have to choose you first, that gives you time to keep thinking about the answer. I'd rather you put in the answer in chat. I know that sounds a little tougher, but I would...
Jeopardy has an audible noise. Anyway, what do I know?
We don't have that. I'm sorry. This is not actual Jeopardy. I'm not actually Alex
This is already rigged. It's fucking fake news. Here we go again. Just bullshit.
Johnny is team 2. As team 2, I award you 200 points.
Why would I have a chance when you and Johnny go out and do your little videos on the weekend anyway? So what the fuck do I have a chance for?
Wow. So butthurt on this. Johnny, you have control of the board. Where would you like to go?
Let's do sub to my channel for 300.
Sub to my channel for 300. Metal Gear Solid 4. Ring in if you know the answer. Nope. Not seeing it yet. You can guess multiple times if you prefer. I'm going to be a little loose on spelling here on any of these. I'm going to allow for whatever spelling. Johnny gets the correct answer here. What is Guns of the Patriots? Bobby, have you played Metal Gear Solid 4?
No. MSGV is all I've played. Or MGS. Sorry, I'm a chef.
Yeah, MSG is a different thing.
MSG.
I do a lot more with that than I do with Metal Gear.
Johnny, you got points. Where are we going?
Let's do sub to my channel for 400, please.
Sub to my channel for 400. Metroid Prime 2. Metroid Prime 2. Metroid Prime 2.
Oh, fuck.
I'll give you a hint. I put a hint in the clue.
Wait. Oh, Metroid Prime 2?
Metroid Prime 2. Yep, you that is... all right, I'm gonna say neither of you got this one. It is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Echo.
Gotcha.
Right, good stuff. Johnny, you still control the board. Where would you like to go? Oh, I guess I gotta show the answer. It is Echoes. There you go.
Let's do for 500. Sub to my channel.
Sub to my channel for 500. It's the subtitle to the second Ratchet and Clank game. But please do us a favor and keep your shorts on.
I don't know.
Nope, I do not see the correct answer yet.
This most recent one is the only Ratchet and Clank I've ever played. I'm just trying to...
I mean, you guessed the answer for the third Ratchet and Clank game. That's close. You got close. All right.
They all have very suggestive names.
Guess? They do. And there's a clue in the clue.
I know. I can't. I don't know.
5 seconds.
No idea.
The answer is, what is Going Commando?
See, the wheels were churning.
Yeah.
Yep, they were.
Okay.
Johnny, continue on. What do you got?
Do Pokemon for 100, please.
Pokemon for 100. A move introduced in Generation 1, Chansey was the only Pokemon, other than Mew, was able to learn, was the only Pokemon that could learn it in Red, Blue, and Yellow, which made the trip to pick up the TM41 that held it in Celadon a bit of a wasted journey. I haven't seen the answer yet.
Oh, man. That was the only answer I had.
Yeah. All right then, Bobby. Yeah. Anything you want to weigh in on?
Never used Chansey.
That's fair.
Why would I?
The answer. So close, Johnny. The answer is soft boiled, not hard boiled. You were there, and yet you weren't. Good try.
Okay.
Johnny, you still control the board.
Pokemon for 200.
Pokemon for 200. It's the year Pokemon Red and Blue were released in North America. Johnny got it first. What is
not according to my chat timeline? It was there before his.
It's clearly says.
I took a screenshot. I'm going to send to you first.
Hey, Johnny, you continue.
Let's do. Hey, that's my game for 100.
Hey, that's my game for 100. Metroid Fusion. Full name required, please.
Hey, do you play anything besides Nintendo games?
There are plenty of non-Nintendo questions in here. I'm sorry that you didn't pick them yet. Full name required, please. Thank you. The answer is Samus Aran. Johnny gets the points. Johnny, where do you want to go next?
Hey, that's my game for 200, please.
Answer, Skyrim. Not a Nintendo game. Johnny is correct with the Dragonborn or the Dovahkiin.
Are we supposed to answer in the form of a question?
It doesn't.
You don't have
There's
to.
no rules here. You have to fucking type and not talk. It's stupid. It's fucking dumb, is what it is, Johnny. That's the rule. Be fucking stupid.
Oh,
that's how we're playing.
Really? Well, it says
Johnny's got 1,000 points. Yeah,
Johnny's
all I have to do. It's in a buzzer. Like that's what Jeopardy is, but we have to fucking type it out.
Johnny's getting these answers before you, and he's also doing the who is, which you don't have to do. I think that's some domination on Johnny's part.
That's fine. I think that you're doing
Johnny,
it this way is bullshit.
This is the fairest way I could think of doing it.
I know. Feel bad for all of our podcasters out there.
Let's do Potpourri for 100.
Potpourri for 100. She was the winner, if you could call it that, of the Casual Hour's Worst Character Tournament in 2021. And Johnny gets the points. Who is Tiny Tina? I do appreciate that guess, though, Bobby. Good try.
Yeah.
Potpourri for 200.
For 200. It's the video game magazine Dan Shu worked on from 1996 to 2008 before co-founding bitmob.com in 2009. Bitmob, where when you're here, you're family. Johnny gets it right again with Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM. Good for you. Where are we going now?
Let's do War Games for 100.
War Games for 100. The protagonist of this mythological series has quite the resume.
The worst
He's killed Poseidon, Hades, Thanatos, Ares, and most recently, Baldur.
Fire up fucking Super Robot Wars. Stream it over here right now.
Johnny gets the points. What is God of War?
I waited to start typing that.
Johnny, what do you got?
War Games for 200, please.
War Games for 200. This game franchise, developed in North Carolina, is known for its iconic weapon design and numerous walk and talk sequences. Still don't know? Maybe you can ask Anya to or rather jog, your memory. Johnny gets the points with Gears of War. Johnny, what do you got?
War Games for 300.
War Games for 300. In 2021, this series celebrated its 30th anniversary with a brand new title that was the first time many in the West had heard of it. Unless, of course, you listen to the Casual Hour, where one particular host has mentioned it once or twice on the show, much to the other host's chagrin.
Bobby's not even participating.
I don't think he's participating. Well, then this is really not going well for you, Bobby, but I'm going to keep going because I'm finding it fun. Johnny, where do you want to go now?
War Games for 400, please.
War Games for 400. This Ubisoft Paris-developed cross-gen title was the first game on the Xbox 360 to be graced with the Tom Clancy name. If you played the original Xbox, PS2, or PC versions, you were locked to playing it in first person only, but with the power of the Xbox 360, gamers could choose between first or third person for maximum Clance tactical shooting action. Have not seen the answer yet. Remember, you need war in the title. These are war games. That is a fun answer, but not a correct answer, Johnny.
I don't know. So.
All right. I'm going to give Bobby one chance to come and steal.
Pass.
He passes. The answer is, what is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, also known as GRAW? Johnny, where do you want to go next?
Pokemon for 300.
Pokemon for 300. It's the current amount of Pokemon as of Generation 8 without rounding. You don't have to be exact, just the hundreds place is enough. You could say 100, 200, but Johnny gets it. 898, but anything in the 800s was acceptable. Congratulations, Johnny. You get to pick where we go now.
Pokemon 400.
Pokemon for 400. The name of a Generation 6 starter Pokemon. Any one of them will do.
Oh gosh. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I'm not even drawn.
Jedi, I agree. I think it'd be harder to gauge when somebody has buzzed in at the end of my question. But it seems like one person is just deciding to be a really bad sport about it, so we'll just move on. You could have said Chespin, Fennekin, or Froakie. This is the Pokemon XY generation.
Froakie.
Johnny, you still have control of the board. Where are we going now?
Pokemon 500.
Pokemon for 500. When Pokemon Mega Evolve, they sometimes change their typing. Gyarados, for example, is normally water flying, but when it Mega Evolves, it turns into water and this type. I have not seen the correct answer yet. Maybe I should have let the chat participate. Would have gotten at least more participation than I'm getting from one host.
Hey, you're the host.
And give it 5 more seconds.
I don't know. I've never.
The answer is what is dark.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Water dark. Yep. Moving on, Johnny. Where you
let's get that sub to my channel out of the way. That last one.
Sub to my channel. Halo 5. Hey, we've got those in Destiny 2. And Destiny 2, too.
What was the rule for this one?
What do you mean?
The subtitle. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the subtitle. What's the subtitle? Thank you, Johnny. Yes, it is Halo 5 Guardians. Johnny, you have a commanding lead and control of the board.
Let's do War Games for 500, please.
War Games for 500. World War II games were all the rage in the early 2000s, mostly thanks to the popular Call of Duty series. The landscape changed when Infinity Ward launched Call of Duty Modern Warfare in 2007, but Treyarch decided to attempt one more World War II title with this game, the last before switching to Call of Duty Black Ops, and the first to feature the series' popular zombie mode.
Man.
Pretty forgotten Call of Duty game.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
It also had vehicle combat in multiplayer.
It's not
kind of neat.
Shit, because it was the one after Modern Warfare 2, right? Or the one after the first Modern Warfare.
Yes.
There we go.
Hey, wow! With an amazing come from behind victory, Bobby gets the correct answer. It's Call of Duty World at War. Bobby, starting your comeback now. Where do you want to go?
I forfeit to Johnny. He can pick.
All right, Johnny, where do you want to go?
Hey, that's my game. 300.
Hey, that's my game for 300. Psychonauts. Johnny gets it right. Who is Raz Rasputin Aquato? Congratulations, Johnny. Moving on.
Hey, that's my game. 400.
Super Mario Land 3. Johnny is correct. Sounds like a trick question. It's Wario. I mean, it's technically called Wario Land, but you know, I didn't want to give it away. So Johnny gets the points. Johnny, Got four more questions, more clues.
Let's round out this "Hey, that's my game" category.
Hey, that's my game for 500. Portal.
Oh no,
tough one. Not seen the correct answer yet.
Oh man, shit. I used to know this. I'm drawing a blank right now.
All right. 2 seconds. 1 second. Answer is who is Shell?
Shell. That's right.
All right. Yeah, Colin, please feel free to pipe in. It'd be nice to have some competition for Johnny. Johnny, where do you want to go next?
Potpourri for 300, please.
Potpourri for 300. It's the name of the orange ghost in Pac-Man, and the only one that doesn't rhyme. Colin gets the answer correct. Who is Clyde? Clyde is the orange one. Good job, Colin. Colin, I would give command of the board, but I think it'll take too long. Johnny, you want 400 or 500?
400.
400 in Potpourri. The number of inputs, this includes buttons, sticks, everything, on a GameCube controller.
I'll
give you a hint. It's under 20. Colin gets it right. What is 11? Congratulations, Colin. Colin, I'll give you command of the board here because there's only one question left. We'll go Potpourri for 500. It's the name of the terror who lives in the pitch black areas of the Zork series. Take care not to be eaten by one. This is an old game here. Colin doesn't have an answer. Johnny, do you have a chance to...
I don't. I'm sorry.
That's all right. The answer is, what is a grue?
Oh.
Yeah, eaten by a grue. That's where it comes from.
Making her casual hour debut. This is Dot.
A dog. A dog. Hello, dog.
Say hi, Dot.
Well, Dot, your dad is quite the accomplished video game trivia player. Johnny wins 3,300 points
handsomely
to Bobby's 500, and I think Colin had 700 if you count up his points. So good job, Colin, and great job, Johnny. And Bobby's a poor sport, and that was really disappointing. That's how this had to go.
Yeah, it's almost like we were talking about PCs or something.
That's the casual hour for you. Sometimes one person doesn't want to have a good time.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody, that has been the Casual Hour's deep dive and also a discussion on Microsoft's acquisition of Call of Duty. I guess I'm going to give the reins over to Bobby. Maybe he'll perk up a little bit if he gets to talk and tell us where he can find more Casual Hour content.
You can keep doing it, man. Go for it.
All right.
Let me stop the stream here for that. There we go. Chase, anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay.
Congratulations, Johnny.
Have a great night, everybody. Take care.